Welcome, Milky Way Galaxy team. Thanks for tuning into the stream. We got low solar activity. So here's the view at 171 angstroms. We're going to give you 1 minute of lead time. And then we're going to get into our daily space weather report, which has just reached the 1-year anniversary of a space weather report every day. So again, we'll be back in 1 minute. All right, I don't even know if that was a minute. That might have been less. Let's get this thing underway, as there's lots of stuff to cover once again. We're going to go right down the list. 171, 193, and 304 angstroms. Here's 193 angstroms view. There is a coronal hole up north, right in this region, just to the northeast of that active region, that plage. We really see about 4 active regions there, 0 sunspots, and low activity generally speaking. Get Epic Pen out of the way, and we'll move to 304 angstroms as there's some interesting stuff on that view as well. We see a large filament dancing around there in the northeast. And I think that one is still in effect, although it might be collapsing as we speak. In fact, it looks so collapsy that I'm actually going to take a closer look at it here. Let's look at the full res view complete with magnetic field lines. Great image of that solar prominence there. See if I can get a good close-up of it. There's a great close-up of it. That's probably about 2 Earths in diameter there, folks. And there you can see the magnetic field lines mainly emanating out of that active region. Some open lines there at both poles. And I think that's going to be the thumbnail, folks. You're getting behind-the-scenes footage now. And this isn't even behind the scenes. This is in front of the scenes. Now, please visit our Hemp Lucid campaign, which is listed in the description below the video, as well as mostly all of the links that we visit. If you'd like to get some CBDs, please use our link, as we are helping to track people's clicks and so forth to see which campaigns they're more interested in. Hemp Lucid makes all kinds of whole plant CBD tinctures, and there are THC free ones, there are waxes, body butters, lip balm, even pet CBDs. So again, please check out the link there. It's the Spaced Out campaign for the viewers of this channel. We made the campaign just for the viewers of this channel. Again, links in the description. Go to solarham.net real quick and just take a look at the synoptic map. And there's a synoptic map. By the way, if you're viewing this video from a different galaxy, such as M31, aka the Andromeda Galaxy, or perhaps Cygnus A, please leave a comment, as we are interested in your cosmology. So we see a whole bunch of filaments drawn in on this map here by Spencer this time, and it is up to date. And for that, we thank you. Take a look at the real-time solar wind here real quick. Phi angle is at about 314. Solar wind density is experiencing some striations here. It's been between 6 and 4 over the past few hours, ramping down from around 8 midday yesterday. And we got the wrong data, folks, the wrong data. Oh, scratch that. That was the right data. All right. I apologize. And the page just vanished. And okay, there we go. Wonderful. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, phi angle is at 337. Solar wind density all the way down to 2.89. So very low and a very low wind speed. So we're going to see a weak magnetosphere. Big time weak magnetosphere. We're just going to look at the density and the pressure. We've been cutting out the velocity segment to shorten the videos a bit. So here's the density, and we should see some pretty major fluctuations in this to match up with the solar wind. And I don't know what I'm searching for. There we go. All right. Anyway, there's the density. This is the last 4 hours if all things are going according to plan. And when we view the pressure, we should see some fluctuations in it. There's some lower density solar wind coming in at the end of the movie. And we're going to see the pressure drop down right at the end at that same time. Again, this is 4 hours of data, courtesy of University of Michigan. If you're interested in how these models are derived, there are links in the description to this page here. Just scroll to the bottom and click on details and click on space weather modeling framework, and that will connect you to information on how the data is derived. We're not going to get into it, at least not today. Also, we'll look at the geospace ground magnetic perturbations, as a lot of our viewers are very interested in things like pole excursions, since they're innately tied to the catastrophe cycle of our planet. That's right, the 12,000-year catastrophe cycle seems to be related to the magnetic poles. If you weren't aware, the Earth has 2 north poles right now. And I don't know what happened there. That was a complete failure. The Earth has 2 magnetic north poles right now. One is up here over Canada, and one is over here over Siberia. Meanwhile, the south geomagnetic pole is creeping up toward Western Australia into the Indian Ocean. Let's just let this play through here so you can see any perturbations here. And they're basically where you would expect them to be during this 2019 pole excursion. Will you get to experience the Earth's catastrophe cycle? Well, we're very interested in whether or not you will. Let's look at the total electron content here. This will show things like GPS errors and satellite drag. We're expecting to see pretty low levels, as we've recently seen a pretty big dip in the electron flux. So we're back off the lowest levels now, and this should be reflected. There's some very low levels reflected there. And just coming back off the lows, you see those aqua blobs developing there over East Indies. So everybody's GPS should be working pretty good around the planet today. Please visit the links in the description. And thanks to our latest Patreon, that makes a huge difference. And we are up to 5 patrons now, I think. Anyway, every little bit counts, folks. Every little bit counts. And we thank you for your support. So again, visit the links in the description. I'm a pro bike racer, so I'm getting back into it right now, and I'm back in a big way. So check out the sponsor shop, theveloshop.net, if you're interested in bikes. If you're interested in prepping, you should be interested in bikes. A good prepping bike is a hybrid. So again, check out theveloshop.net. maybe buy yourself a hybrid to add to your prepping repertoire. If you want the ultimate prepping bike, I would recommend getting something like the BMC Alpen Challenge, as this thing is the legit Swiss Army knife of bikes. The reason you want to get a hybrid as your prepping bike is because hybrids are probably the most versatile bike. Everything from the kind of air valves on the inner tubes and the kind of tires used and everything, super versatile. And they often put fenders on them as well as pannier racks and other things that make it a good utility bike. So these BMCs are beautiful. If I was going to get a hybrid and I had my choice of any hybrid, I would get something like this. You can ride on wet roads and no water will come up and hit you. These low profile fenders will make a huge difference. The whole BMC product line available at thefellowshop.net. Also follow us on other social media such as Instagram. Here's a ride I did yesterday. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time out there, so I just did some mountain climbing. Only 8.2 miles, but sometimes it just counts. Since it's Thursday, let's celebrate Throwback Thursday by showing you the first road racing I ever did. This is after I retired from mountain bike racing. I got hit by a truck in 1999, and man, oh man, I look like a squid in this. The bike looks sweet. I look like a noob. Here I look a little better on an actual time trial bike with a better position. So anyway, thanks again, donors. We really appreciate that. It makes a huge difference in this operation and helps to ensure that this channel will continue to produce space weather videos every day. Now, we are looking for an increase in the X-ray flux as this active region gets into a more and more Earth-facing orientation. And I believe the X-ray flux background level is now at about A7.3 or something like that. So we're going to see a slight increase in X-ray flux as this rotates through, which is why we're on the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard page. Links in the description of that also. Let's look at some more data here at spaceweathernews.com. Tiny increase in the X-ray flux there, but barely even noticeable. Magnetometer is looking pretty smooth. KP has been pegged at 1 for the last 16 hours or so. Electron flux coming off its lows, as we stated, and as the data corroborated. No charging hazards. The F2 layer is looking extremely discharged on the nighttime side. I mean, the size of that red blob there, where it's just an F layer instead of an F2 layer like it is here. If you're not familiar with the F2 ionosphere, this area here on the daytime side has multiple layers. It's really like an F2, F3, F4 layer. Here, there is no F2. There's just an F layer. As those shells collapse on the nighttime side, they've really collapsed. So Antarctica, it's very solar minimum-y for you right now. And here's the aurora forecasts. Expecting them to look pretty weak, and indeed they do. Look at the gong 2 here. As we see some striations, we're expecting some magnetometer spikes and troughs. As this active region rotates through, it's going to increase the volatility of this situation. Let's go to the last frame here. We're going backwards from the current data. And nothing too extraordinary to speak about. Keep in mind, we are in the process of crossing this polarization of the current sheet. So that is something that's going to cause some fluctuations in the GOES magnetometer very soon. Keep in mind this data is 1 hour and 24 minutes old. Next, we're going to ignore stereo A entirely, which, if you were not aware, is located about here. Stereo B located about here. And thanks again for tuning in, Milky Way Galaxy team. Here's where stuff will be in 1 week. As the full moon approaches, the Jupiter opposition will occur, or actually a conjunction will occur on the 10th. So if you got a backyard telescope, please send us some photos of Jupiter, as it looks crazy good as the red spot evaporates. And that has to do with solar activity, folks, because Jupiter's weather is controlled by its magnetic fields the same way the Earth's is. So as it starts to set in the west, Saturn is still pretty high in the sky there on the ecliptic, and Venus should be rising within about a half an hour. So if you have a low horizon, please check out Venus. It is going to be delightful. Follow us on other social media such as Twitter, links in the description, Facebook, links there as well, Gab, our latest foray into social media, and minds.com/smAsho, the social media that will not censor or shadow ban you. Thanks, new subscribers. And if you haven't pressed like and subscribe yet for our channel here on YouTube, please do so. Let's do a volcano rundown right after we do an earthquake rundown. We see a 4.3, largest quake in a long time in California. Let's take a look at the map. Shout out Californian viewers. If you're located near San Diego, you probably didn't feel that as it's out in the ocean. However, if you're on U.S. Navy Station San Clemente, please leave a comment. Let us know if your pornography posters fell off the wall. Also, if you're located on Avalon, let us know if you felt the quake. We see a 5.0 in Russia, just east of Kamchatka. By the way, folks, we see an earthquake downtick, and if you're in these areas, please have a plan. As you're still experiencing a drought and large earthquakes, if you're in those areas, please be ready. Please be a liability. Please be an asset, not a liability, in the event of a natural disaster. How about a 4.7 in Turkey? I want to zoom in on this one too, as it looks like it's in the middle of the Caspian Sea. Check it out. Located east of Azerbaijan. Shout out Turkish viewers if you felt the quake. If your mother-in-law's photograph rattled, please leave a comment. Again, another 4.3 there. San Clemente Island region. This one right in the same location. Check it out. Pretty funky. 2 4+ magnitude quakes right on a U.S. military base. Are the Russians burrowing underneath the military base? We may never know. Here's a 5.3 in Chile. Largest quake there for a while. Hopefully too many buildings did not crumble there. Here's a 4.6 in the South Shetland Islands, basically on Antarctica. Here's a 4.5 at Taiwan. 4.4 Central America, just off the coast. 5.5 at the Philippines at extreme depth. Heads up, Philippines. Be prepared for a larger quake at the surface. Now that 5.5, that is a magnitude, that's a 466 kilometer depth. If that were at the surface, that would be nearly a 7 magnitude quake, as it's almost 500 kilometers deep. 4.4 at Fiji, heads up Fiji for a larger quake at the surface. That quake 460 kilometers depth as well. Next, we're going to look at volcanoes. and do a rundown as quickly as possible. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and thanks smAsho staff for all your hard work. Oh, you were supposed to move to San Clemente tomorrow, and it got rescheduled. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Harry Wire. If you send probes out to the solar region, you avoid the asteroid belts by going to the center, going toward the sun. Yeah, there's dust, there's asteroids in there, but not nearly as much as there are between Earth and Mars, and between Mars and Jupiter. So, yeah, they probably do navigate above or below the belts, but they probably, for the most part, stay on the interplanetary magnetic field. Anyway, here's your volcanoes. Tucano, continuously erupting for a solid week now. Popocatépetl